What does it mean to pass? Passing like passing a class, passing like going past, passing like exceed. In this context, the transgender context, pass means to exist in your true gender identity in a way that doesn't raise alarms. You could walk past others on the street and no one would blink at your gender performance. To pass means to be unclockable. The term passing can also be used in a racial context, as in when mixed race people or non white people, quote unquote, pass as white. From these definitions, we could understand passing in the context of those in power. To pass is to look like you are one of them, a cis person, a white person, you know, the privileged people. I personally have never really passed in my life for a variety of reasons. I'm East Asian for one, and I'm 5'2". I guess I have a high voice, and whether or not you pass is often tied to other facets of your identity, such as race. I mentioned being East Asian because East Asian men are often seen as effeminate in the Western world, regardless of being cis or transgender. We could also understand passing here in a cultural context. In the United States, where the average height of men is 5'9", me being so short is probably part of the reason why I'm read as a woman so often. But in another country, such as Cambodia, where the average height of men is 5'5", my height would still be short, but less abnormal for a man than in the United States. The fact of not passing used to bother me a lot when I was younger because I regarded my identity as a democratic process, something to be put up for vote. I was waiting for someone to deem me worthy of certain aspects of my identity. That I was only Chinese if other Chinese people validated me, that I was only a man if other men validated me. In his book, The Lies That Bind, Rethinking Identity, philosopher and identity scholar Kwame Anthony-Appiah writes, "Being a people is not just a matter of how you think of yourselves. What others outside of the group think is important too. Identity, as we learned in the first chapter, is negotiated between insiders and outsiders." The origins of most identities are oppositional, as in they're created in response or in reaction to an outgroup. The word heterosexual, for example, didn't exist until 1901, after the word homosexual was coined in the late 19th century. Passing is a symbol of status among the transgender community. Yes, it means simply that you could walk around town safely and not be harassed, but it's also a symptom of being wealthier because you can afford your gender affirming medical procedures or makeup or a new wardrobe. Passing might indicate someone is farther along in their transition, which is also often a source of envy for those earlier on in their transition, like me. Above all, passing means that you can conform to the rigid boxes gendered society has created for man and woman. But as stated previously, passing can rely heavily on other factors of your identity, such as race and class. In the iconic documentary Paris is Burning, we see some of the young trans women talk about passing.
America's nice. You can do what you want if you have the money. You can be what you want, certainly. Look at me. In 84, I've had a nose reconstructed job. I've had my cheekbones risen. I've had a chin implant and breast implants.
Yes, tell them like it is.
The most important factor in my life that has been completed recently is that I've had a transsexualism operation. That means I've had a sex change. I'm no longer a man. I am a woman. I feel great. I'm very happy. And I feel like the part of my life that was a secret is now closed. I can close the closet door. There are no more skeletons in there. And I'm as free as the wind that's blowing out on this beach.
Except that voice is still there. As free as this beach.
I am what I am. I am my own special creation.
Taking it a step further than just passing idly, some transgender people are stealth, which is a combination of passing and then deliberately staying in the closet about being transgender. And everybody I know who is stealth is doing so out of safety concerns, while passing is kind of a passive trait that you may or may not exhibit. Being stealth is taking that knowledge that you pass and intentionally not disclosing that you're trans to others. And I've seen a lot of online discourse about this, like especially on dating apps. People take it as some sort of personal offense. And I will say with confidence that the majority of transgender people are not stealth because we are evil little gremlins trying to trick people into sleeping with a transvestite. It's a genuine safety concern. One of the most heartbreaking parts of Paris is Burning is reckoning with the death of Venus Extravaganza, a young trans woman who was part of the House of Extravaganza who was brutally murdered and left for dead in a hotel room. And this happens often. In 2024, the Human Rights Campaign recorded the deaths of over 120 transgender people, and over half of those deaths were Black transgender women. So, what are the politics of passing? Passing means survival. But surviving is an inherently unfair battle. Those who are rich and white, who look and perform the most like real men and women, are deemed the fittest of us, and the rest of us, good luck, I guess. Look, no one wants to walk down the street and get called slurs unless you're a freak, but I feel like as a community, we've internalized the importance of passing in a way that just reinforces oppressive dichotomies. We're plagued with internalized transphobia and self-hatred to the point where I see transgender people online doing the slur hurling and the cyberbullying, policing our trans siblings because, God forbid, some he/him teenager wants to wear cat ears and pleated skirts. In writing this essay and thinking about passing for the past 3 weeks, it occurred to me to investigate my own gender expression. Don't get me wrong, I'm for sure a dude. I'm a guy. I got he, him pronouns. Yeehaw. It makes sense. I feel very comfortable in that. I think I dress pretty masculine, leaning androgynous. But for a while in my youth, I loved being feminine. I loved wearing skirts and dresses. I actually used to collect vintage dresses, and I would wake up early in the morning to do a full face of makeup. When I first came out in 2020, I found tutorials on how to walk, how to dress, how to voice train like a man. I ended up giving away a bunch of my dresses and skirts to others because I thought that's not what men wore, and I really wanted to be taken seriously. So, this past week, I decided to do drag. And by this past week, I mean a couple days out of the past week and a couple days out of the week previously because it's finals and being a girl is hard. I definitely tried. I bought some makeup at Target with my friends. We actually have matching colorful mascara now, which is fun. I borrowed clothes and I'd wake up early in the mornings to like do myself up. I actually had to have my parents help me get into my first outfit because I needed someone to like pull the corset strings. That was very fun. And I was telling my mom, like, everyone thinks I'm a girl. I don't pass. And, like, I'm just doing this for funsies, for an English project. You know, I'm too pretty and people think I'm a girl. And she was like, you're just a pretty Asian boy. There are plenty of pretty Asian boys out there. And I was like, you know what? Thanks, mommy. I know. I am a pretty Asian boy. I'm just like Cher. I am a rich man. I've reached the point in my life where I'm a year and a half into my transition and I'm consistently misgendered in public, and I just don't care anymore. I know who I am, and the people that I care about know and respect who I am, and that's all that matters to me.